Clippers and Jazz from last night. These two teams coming in just 2 games separating both of them. It would be a 4-5 matchup in the Western Conference if they would square off in the first round, which if the playoffs started today they would, but they don't. That's just kind of a build-up to the highlight. Jazz up 6, Joe Johnson knocking down the important three-pointer. But take a look at Chris Paul and Rudy Gobert. Awards would be exchanged, and Gobert would have to be held back. Take another look. Undersized Paul gets physical with the Stifle Tower. Sir, probably not a good move. Officials will review the play. Paul assessed a technical foul. Jazz win this one, 114-108. So, Wendy, what can you tell us about the bad blood between these two?
This has been an extremely one-sided rivalry the last few years. That was the first time in 10 games that the Jazz could beat the Clippers on their home floor. Overall, the Clippers had won 16 of 17. So this was a chippy game for the Jazz. They came in looking to send a message because right now these two teams are aiming to get each other in the first round. And when you look at Chris Paul and Rudy Gobert, you have to realize even though they don't guard each other, they're involved with each other a lot because Rudy Gobert sets bunches and bunches of screens at the top of the floor for the point guard. So in any average game, Chris Paul might run into Rudy Gobert 15, 20, 25 times. And after you do that for 2.5 hours, it gets a little frustrating. So this spices this up. They play one more time in a few weeks in Los Angeles, and then they could end up playing what I think could be a 6 or 7 game series. So the fact that this got chippy last night, also Gobert and J.J. Redick were involved in a play that resulted in a technical foul. We could see this being the beginnings of a pretty intense first-round matchup.
The Utah Jazz placed heavy emphasis on that game last night. As Brian alluded to, the Clippers have had their number for quite some time. But if you look at the Utah Jazz and their resurgence, Gordon Hayward, he's always felt like a little dog within the league the last couple of years, finally getting his just due. The Utah Jazz have felt the same way, have been that team on the cusp of trying to break into the playoff spot, and they're finally doing that, and they're doing it at a high level. So they wanted to get that game just from a psyche standpoint, because if you look at it right now, most likely these are going to be the two teams in that 4 and 5 seed in the first round of the playoffs. So they wanted to send a message that, hey, we can stay with you guys, we can compete with you guys, and we can beat you. So just from a mental psyche standpoint, that was a huge win for Utah. And for the Los Angeles, look, they got to get something done because their core have been together for enough time already to be able to accomplish something significant. That hasn't been the case with pending free agents of Blake Griffin and Chris Paul. They have to make sure they get out of that first round and accomplish something. So it will be a big series for them.
Yeah, you have to wonder, too. That's a great point. You're talking about a core that's been there, but either the wrong place, wrong time with both the Spurs and the Warriors out west remains to be seen. Gentlemen,